This week I have a really lovely wintry snowflake card, and we're using some new snowflake cutting dies, as well as some specialty papers and Dazzles and a patterned paper pack. So here is the front of my card and the inside. And the thing that catches my eye the most is this really lovely flap, which is super easy to do, especially with this Winter Flannels paper pack, and I will show you that in a second when I get into the card. Today I'll be working with the Paper Artist cutting dies in the 3 snowflakes. So these are all kind of nested together, and they're just connected to the package with a little bit of adhesive, so they pop right off. And then I have 2 Dazzle sheets. These are the Silver Flower Jewel Dazzles, and these are really fun, sparkly texture. And then I have the Smooth Platinum Dazzles, and these have gold borders around them. And then a really fun white peacock, and this is a pearlescent kind of shimmery finish, so really nice in a wintry theme here. And then I also have the Holographic Stars specialty paper and the Winter Flannel paper pack. So just to give you a sneak peek of all the designs, there they are on the back. Alright, so let's get into the card. So I have my Epic 6 die cutting machine here, and I also have my cutting mat. So this is the flexible mat that will go on top, and my cutting platform, which is a thicker, stiff platform. So first thing I'm going to do is take my peacock white paper, and I'm just going to cut a piece of it to fit the largest snowflake. Just so you can see the size difference here, we have tiny, medium, and large. Okay, so here is my peacock piece. I'm going to set these two aside. On my cutting platform, I'm going to place my cutting die with the blades facing upward, my peacock paper with the peacock side facing downward, and try and make sure that this doesn't move, because if you move that a little bit, you won't cut the whole shape. They do have cutting mats out there that are magnetic. Mine, however, is not, so I just try to keep it in place by holding it together. So I'm going to run my sandwich through. And if you need to, you can run it forward and then backward. Let's see if this way worked. Okay, I'm going to slide this out of the way. Aha! And here we go. And you can see it did cut all the way through this specialty textured paper, which is great. It leaves a really lovely shape too. And then the foam parts actually pushed out these little scraps, which is really handy since then you don't have to do it by hand. So I'm carefully pressing in this hole, just really gently so that I don't break my snowflake here. Separating it from, there we go, the die. There we go. Now you can see how well these little foam pieces work to push out, even these tiny little dots. They pushed out the scraps from the final finished piece. So that worked perfectly. Next, I'm going to try the Holographic Stars paper with this medium snowflake. I have not tested out the holographic paper yet, but we'll see if this works. So placing my die, blade side up, paper pattern side down, cutting mat cut side down, and rolling this through. did cut all the way through that thick holographic paper perfectly. Great. So same kind of thing with the medium, just pushing this out. Now the holographic paper is a little more sturdy, so it kind of came out all in one swoop. Look how awesome that looks. And it even has sort of a beveled edge, so it makes it look really professional and smooth. And you can layer these. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. But first I'm going to cut this tiny guy out of the white peacock paper, and that's going to go in the center. So I'll be right back. Okay, so there's that little guy, and that was super easy. Now I'm going to try to do all three, this on the side, but these two nested. And you might try maybe a stick of, or a piece of double-sided tape to keep these centered. Or if you do have the magnetic cutting platform, that would be extremely helpful in this occasion. But we'll just see how this turns out. So, try to keep this together and run it through. Felt a little bit more resistance with this one since there was more cutting dies. But let's see what we got. And I did use the peacock paper again. Ooh, voila! Okay, so I'm going to carefully take off the outer edges. But it looks like it did cut everything I wanted it to. Okay. And carefully remove this guy. There's a few sections that are very not quite cut all the way. Try not to rip it. Try and take it carefully out. See if I can just cut it, that tiny little piece, just help it out a little bit. There we go. Alright. Now, this is a little more advanced, but you just have to be very ginger with it, since it's got lots of tiny swirls and small connections here. Alright, this little guy needs to come out. There we go. Finally, our beautiful double cut snowflake. And then you could even glue this in the center. And you also get this one as well. Okay, so I'm going to take my snowflake paper here, and I like this curvy border it has. So what I'm going to do here is place my 6.5 inch by 5 inch card on here. Let's see, I want it to be kind of off center. So here is where I'm placing it, so I'm going to turn it over to the back and just trace around the perimeter. And I can go ahead and cut this shape out. Okay, so here is the remaining chunk of paper. You can kind of see where I took that out of. And this is going to get glued down on the front. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is create a shaped flap. So I'm going to cut with my scissors just around this edge, and I want a little bit of that, I want to leave the brown border. So I'm going to cut outside that line. Alright, so now I have my shaped flap and I still have that thin brown border around. And that's a great way to get a shaped flap without having to use any templates. It's right, the lines are printed right on the paper. So make sure you cut through both the flap and the paper to get that pretty curved shape. So next I'm going to use this purple snowflake paper from the Winter Flannels paper pack. And I've already cut out this medium snowflake from it. And I've got my large snowflake from the white peacock paper. So I'm going to set my card aside for a second. So what I'm going to do is glue this medium snowflake centered on the white. And then I'm going to take this brown snowflake paper, oops, glue it to the brown, and go ahead and take my small detail scissors and cut around the whole shape, leaving a small brown border. Okay, now I'm done matting that on the brown. I'm going to go ahead and glue this to my card right about here. So there's the center of that scalloped shape, and there's my snowflake. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and add some sparkle with my flower jewel dazzles and my platinum jewel dazzles. And I'm gonna add some more die cut snowflakes. I've cut a few out of the holographic stars paper as well as the white peacock paper. So I'm gonna use a combination of all of those things to decorate the front of my card. Alright, so I'm done decorating the front flap of my card. And here in this big center snowflake where I've added the dazzles are right in the center, and this is coming from the flower jewel dazzles. So these tiny little flower dazzles, one of those gets put in the center. This stack is of the silver holographic, let's see if I can show you. One of these. So this is the silver holographic and the same shape in the white peacock, and those are just stacked on top of each other, offset, so that the points of the silver show through each between the points of the white. And then just adding on a star or a flower dazzle from the just like that. So this is kind of a motif that I've used several times on the front. Okay, so that's this part. And then I also have little tiny dots of silver here. And that's actually, you might think it comes from this sheet, but it does come from this sheet. And those are the centers of these daisies. They're really tiny, so they fit perfectly in these little holes of the die cut snowflake. So I put one in each of these points, in each of these points, and then on the larger tips I put these small jewel dazzles. So the snowflakes here I did the same way as this one, except I added one of these jewel dazzles kind of at each of the white tips. Moving over here, I have a partial snowflake. It's a die cut holographic silver snowflake, and I just sliced it like this so you can kind of see how it looks whole. And this one I'll use on the inside. And then in each point I put another small Platinum Jewel Dazzle. So now I'm done with the front flap. Alright, so I've just covered the inside with the purple snowflake pattern paper, and that's just the whole inside, so you can see it shows through on the front because of the shaped flap. Now the next thing I'm going to do is glue this pretty snowflake in the corner. I've already put some glue stick on the back, so I just want it to be kind of peeking in here. Okay, so I'm sticking those pieces down. I'll just trim off the excess with my scissors. Okay. Alright, so I went ahead and finished my card. In the corner I have this glued down plus a little tiny white snowflake. Just one of these guys from the smallest die cut or cutting die right here. And I went ahead and used that same die and made several more snowflakes. So on the inside, this piece is the remainder of this holographic snowflake up here. And then I have a little border alternating the white peacock with the silver star holographic paper, just kind of zigzag. So I just had the corners meet right here on each side, so it's kind of a checker pattern. And then on the inside, or the center of each snowflake, I added one of the flower dazzles to give it a little pop of sparkle. So this is how I'm going to leave my card. Now if you want to write on the inside, you're going to have to use a nice bold, probably black pen, because this is a heavily patterned paper. Or you could glue a rectangle of plainer paper, maybe this color, so that you could write a more legible greeting. But this card is unique in that it does not have a specific greeting, so it could be any occasion, which is always a nice versatile thing. So it could be birthday in the winter, it could be Christmas, it could be just a winter card. So I hope you guys liked this week's episode. Stay tuned for the bundle deal, and I will see you again next week with another fun project. First in the bundle we have the Winter Flannel Paper Pack. It comes with 12 sheets. Of course, on the package you're going to get some project ideas as well as on the back, and some more matching products if you're interested. And the sheets themselves are really pretty. They have a really elegant snowflake border here, all over colorful snowflakes, brown like a warm brown, larger snowflake pattern, great for backgrounds. And this is a really pretty blue tile pattern. Cozy flannel. Of course, the pack is called Winter Flannels. And a nice kind of plum color snowflake design. Those are the sheets in the Winter Flannel pack. And next up in the bundle we have two specialty papers. The first is the Holographic Stars paper. Now this really packs a punch, but used in small amounts it doesn't overwhelm you, which is nice. This is the white peacock paper, and it is it is pearlescent, so it's got an iridescent shine to it. It's really pretty and wintry looking. And this is the Silver Flower Jewel Dazzles. They are 214 on a sheet, all different sizes, and some of them can be used to act as snowflakes. And you can also use this really pretty glittery finish the sides. If you want to use strips of that, you can use those as borders on your projects. And then of course we have the Platinum Smooth Jewel Dazzles, and these are a smooth finish as opposed to the glittery finish of the Silver Jewel Dazzles, so not to be confused. And the rims are gold on there. Last but not least, we have the 3 Snowflakes cutting dies, and these can be used with pretty much any die cutting machine. I'm using the Epic 6, but you can use the Big Shot or other die cutting machines on the market. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again next week.